The Titans have got their mojo back together. Unlucky probably not to have 3 wins in a row. They beat the Warriors, they've beaten the Cowboys and narrowly lost to the Storm. Well, what's Des Hasler done to turn it around?
He inspires players, doesn't he? He gives them a plan which he asks them to achieve, and certainly they have risen to a level that I'm sure Des believes that there's still a considerable improvement to take place, but they aren't finished yet. There's no way in the world they're anywhere near finished yet. They didn't start off 100%, and Des will probably be the first one to say we haven't peaked yet, but we've still got a little bit of work to do. But it's been good to watch them take place, and I still think that that they are a team that will have enormous respect from their opposing sides that they take on every week. By the end of the season, the respect that the teams will have will be sky high. They've got a lot to do, and Desi's the first one to admit that he probably thinks that he's got a little bit of improvement to do as well, not just the players. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how far they go.
Resilience for mine. I think when they break through and beat the Warriors, the back end of that game, they were under the pump for about 20, 25 minutes. Defensively, they just hung in there. And that was the backbone of that win, which gave them the confidence. So for mine, it's just the resilience they're showing defensively.
Yeah, they seem to have their confidence well and truly back. But 2 of their best players in that win over the Cowboys were Kieran Foran. Defensively, he was superb. He saved a few tries, and Brimson well, but with them injured at the moment, how much more difficult does that become? Yeah,
that's definitely a challenge. But I'm sure Des, he'll be dangling a carrot. He'll be inspiring his players to simply fill in, basically saying to them that they're in there for a particular job, and that's to fulfil the roles as similarly as they possibly can without throwing away their own style of footy. So it's going to be interesting. But Brimson, filling in of those guys, I've got to say, I think will be a challenge. But one, when you're in that sort of position, you love challenges like that, to be able to go and prove that you are as good as the players that you are replacing.
Yeah, well, the other one is they're missing Tanner Boyd as well.
Yeah, he's that broken.
The depth in the halves is getting really pushed now. Brimson's been outstanding. How far away is Campbell?
He trained today. I'm not sure. He'll be close, maybe a week or two. Yeah.
Well, if Campbell's back, maybe you put him in the halves because, look, they're big losses, particularly for, and I've been really impressed with his leadership over the last, 4 or 5 weeks because, the pressure was building, but he handled it well, and I think, he is obviously pretty close to Des Hasler. And I think he was starting to feel that his coach, his old coach from Manly, was starting to get a bit of criticism. And, he definitely has been a big part in them turning it around. I've got to say, I think 7 suits him there at the moment. It just takes control of the game, and I think that's been a big difference for the Titans.
So what do you do with Brimson when he does come back well? So he's played at centre, he's played at fullback, he's played at 5'8" this year. You pick one position for him right now. Where do you play Brimson?
That's the hardest question to answer.
On the spot.
We've been talking about this for 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and we still can't answer it, or I still can't answer it. I think maybe at 1.
Yeah.
I think the key playmaker roles at 6 and 7 tend to increase a bit of pressure on his shoulders. So maybe there. I think he loves sort of adventuring, and he picks his position where he wants to dart in and add himself to the attacking line pretty well. I have a lot of respect for him in that department, and I think he times his charges into the line extremely well.
Yeah, I reckon on current form, and I know they're injured, but I'd leave Kieran at 7. Let him run the team, use his kicking game, and then I'd just allow Brimson to play at 6 and just play what's in front of him. He's going to see more footy with 6, but he's going to about the same as what he would at 1. But in the centres, he gets wasted, as we've worked out. Yeah. So put him at 6 and just tell him to play what's in front of you, AJ. And then if Campbell's fit, I'd put him at 1. But at the moment, they've got too many injuries to sort of worry about what their final spine is at the moment.
Do you think it could be a horses for courses, Lockie? I mean, he may fit in at that position against certain teams. to be best judged by the, or do you think that's a permanent position where he can increase his performances week in, week out?
Well, we've been talking about 5 players going into 4 for the spine, and I just think what we've learned out of AJ playing in the centres, he needs to be closer to the action. So if it's not 1, because I think Jaden's best position is 1, then maybe you try him at 6 and just say, look, you know, get your hands on the ball, but don't worry about running the team. That's Kieran's job. You just get the ball and you play what's in front of you.
I think one thing we can agree on, centre, never again. Don't send him back to the centres. Like, he's wasted. He touches the ball 3 or 4 times a game there. You've got to get his ball in your hand. Now that they're on the improved Titans, I still think they're second last on the ladder, depending on for and against. What's the achievable goal? So we're heading towards the halfway mark of the season. Well, what do you look at? If they finish in, say, X position, they've done well.
Oh, gee, that's a tough one to answer. I think that they're going to take on challenges which are weekly and try and fill exactly what's required from the coach, who can be very tough to please each week. Look, where are they? Where will they be pleased? I think if they could get to probably 8th, that'd be a position they'd be extremely happy with. But it's almost an insult saying that they could finish that low down the ladder. You know, there is still an opportunity for them to do far better than that.
Well, the key will be how they get through this Origin period. You know, they've got some injuries, right? But if they can jag a few wins, like they're 5 points out of the 8. And there's a big congestion, but just below the 8. So, you know, if they could jag a couple of wins against the odds through this Origin period, like, there's no, I reckon from where they are now, obviously if they get to the 8, then that's a big achievement. But I also think there's for Des, it's you know, I think it's about they've turned the ship, and it's about playing, you know, improving their game, and they're slowly doing that. So by the back end of the year, if they're still improving their game and playing to the capability of beating some of these better sides, like the sides in the top 4, then I think that's a pass mark for them. You know, at the moment it's just how they finish the season as opposed to where they finish on the ladder.